Hi guys, so today we're going to continue with exponents, but this time now we're going to add parentheses. So if we look at our first problem here, it says, what's the difference? So obviously one has parentheses and one doesn't. So underneath the one that does have parentheses, I'm going to write the word parentheses. What else is different? What else can you tell that's different? Well, where's the exponent? On this one, the exponent is on the outside of the parentheses. Is on the outside of the parentheses. And on the other one, the exponent is actually only on the x. Some of you guys might think it also applies to the 2, but really it only applies to the x. It would apply to the 2 if there was parentheses around it, like in the other problem. But we see that there are no parentheses. So this one, the exponent is only attached to the x. So if I were to expand, let's see how each of these would look like. Expanded. So since the 3 is on the outside of the parentheses, that means I'm going to have 3 parentheses. And I'm going to have everything inside the same. So 2x, 2x, 2x. If I were to rearrange this, it would look like 2 times 2 times 2. Remember, we have our numbers in the front, and then we have our variables. Okay, if I were to multiply, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So I get 8 times x to the power 3. I kind of said 8 funny right there. All right, if I were to expand this one, I would only have 1, 2, and 3 x's because that exponent only applies to the x. And if I were to rearrange this, it would look exactly the same, so I'm not going to rearrange. And then multiply, so I get 2 times x to the power of 3. And nothing really changed from here to here. But there's a lot of difference between when there is a parenthesis and when there isn't a parenthesis. Let's look at another example. So what's the difference here? So once again, this one has parentheses. And this one's the same thing as the one at the top, except this one has parentheses on the outside. So if I were to expand this one, it would be 2 times x times x times x. Once again, no need for rearrangement. And when I multiply, I can actually drop the parentheses because they aren't really doing anything. Okay, so once again, we know that this one looks like 2 times x times x times x. If I were to multiply, this would be 2 times x to the power of 3. So notice how I got the same answer for this one this time. But that's because the exponent here is only attached to x, and the exponent here is only attached to x. So they both have the same thing when it comes to where that exponent is attached. Let's go ahead and move on and see this one. So now both of them have parentheses, but the difference is where that exponent is located. Here on this one, the exponent is on the outside. So once again, that would mean I have 3 parentheses and 2x inside. When I were to rearrange, I'm just going to write E for expand, R for rearrange. So if I were to rearrange this, it would look like this. And if I were to multiply, it would look like this. All right, let's look at this one. Expanded would look like 2 times x times x times x. Rearrange, same thing, doesn't really happen, nothing. Now if I were to multiply, it would just be 2 times x to the power 3 or 2x to the power 3. So when you're doing these problems, beware of where that exponent is in terms of the parentheses. Is it on the outside? Is it on the inside? What is it attached to? Okay, in the next video, I'm going to do some example problems with you that are on your homework.